Michael Dupre live in Grand Rapids this evening with a closer look at some of the damage. Michael?
Yeah, Consumers Energy, they've been hard at work since the early morning hours trying to get the power turned back on to thousands of customers who lost it overnight when the ice began forming on tree branches and power lines. But it's not just power lines that are being taken down. One family woke up to this. They heard a loud crack and came outside and saw a giant tree limb sticking right through the windshield of this car. It had fallen when a tree in their backyard snapped in half, causing lots of damage, but fortunately no one was inside the truck when it did fall, but it caused quite a scare for the family. A light show in Grand Rapids Wednesday morning where freezing rain and sleet took down multiple transformers.
What you're seeing is our protective systems doing their job to stop a fault.
It's just the latest round of winter weather here in West Michigan, and it's not just popping transformers. This video even shows a power line on fire in Grand Haven.
And the challenge with ice is the weight that goes on the line. As you can see, the ice lays on the line and it can add hundreds of pounds.
Consumers Energy says crews have been hard at work since early Wednesday morning trying to restore power to thousands of customers, but there is still plenty of work to be done.
The challenge is we've got a lot of small outages because they're affecting service lines to homes.
They say many could be without power through Thursday night. Not the news people like Sarah Sherry want to hear.
My daughter told me that there wasn't any power in the house. She woke me up. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh crap, I can't even open my garage. How am I supposed to get out?
Her car is stuck inside her unattached garage with no way to open the door until the power comes back on.
Well, I knew I couldn't open it before I even went outside. I was like, oh, I'm not going to get my car out because there's no way to get in.
But it could be worse. Caitlin Powers got a startling wake-up call.
I was sleeping and I heard it fall and I woke up my mom. It was like really loud.
A large tree limb through the windshield of her dad's truck. She says just minutes later, her dad could have been inside.
Lucky we're alive. It was unbelievable.
Consumers Energy is hoping to have all the power restored to customers in Kent County and the surrounding areas sometime around 11:30 tomorrow night. But with more bad weather on the way, there could be even more people left in the dark. Now, something else you do want to keep in mind, if you are without power and your house is getting cold, you can call 211 and they can help tell you where the nearest warm center might be so you don't have to spend the night in the cold. And one more thing worth mentioning is since we've been out here, we've noticed a lot of ice falling from power lines and tree branches. So do keep your eyes out and be careful when walking outside. Last thing you want to do is have a chunk of ice fall on your head. In Grand Rapids, Michael Dupre, Fox 17 News. Well, it has been a very rough week to say the least. And, you know, Consumers Energy, well, they're doing all they can to try to get the power turned back on. And they have been dealing with a lot of outages. We're talking about thousands of outages across West Michigan. Now, the problem is they've been having to deal with more power outages, and that creates more problems that they have to deal with. West Michigan may look like one, but it is far from a winter wonderland. Ice clinging to almost every branch and limb, causing many to sag and break onto power lines. Many trees coming down under the weight of that ice, bringing power lines with them onto roads, cars, and even some homes.
Say this is the third power line I've seen down on this neighborhood right now.
A large tree on Row in Grand Rapids taking down power lines and forcing police to block off the street.
Sat down, started doing homework, looked around, turned around, and saw this crazy old tree just in the middle of the street.
On Knapp Street near Meyer, a down power line causing traffic to back up. Street lights not spared either, outages turning many of them into four-way stops. And this car getting a double dose of trouble, having tree limbs and power lines fall on it.
I'd say it's a lot of weight on these trees with the ice.
All that ice making repair work difficult for Consumers Energy. Crews working hard to get the power back on as quickly as possible. Some of that work taking crews high up to the top of power poles. The hum of a generator, a common sound in areas without power.
Coming in handy right now.
Some, like Cody 80, using them to keep the lights on and keep the water from flooding into his home.
Had a pump out here, a little electric pump, pumping it out further into the yard. But it's been a nightmare for a week of water and melting snow and no electricity. And
until all repairs are made, thousands are left in the dark, waiting for the lights to come back on.
It's just what we're dealing with right now.
Now, for anyone who does not have a generator and you're concerned about having to stay in a cold house, you can call 211 and they will help give you some advice and directions about where to find a warm center so you don't have to stay in a cold house until your power does get turned back on. Also, keep in mind that we're dealing with a large area that has a lot of customers without power. So it's going to take some time before Consumers Energy gets the power turned back on for everyone. If you would like to stay updated on the area of where the outages are and where the power is being turned back on, you can always go to Consumers' website.